the foundation of awakening. Aloneness, the foundation of awakening. How to attain to this state? We have forgotten something. That was the foundation of our birth, from conception to birth. When we were conceived, we had a solitary place to stay, no one to talk. Those senses were not developed. Something that was sown, that was infused into your being during your solitary moments in mother's womb. The importance, the significance of aloneness. The importance of silence, not of words. A wordless, silent communion. The foundation of all this was laid in mother's womb during that period of 9 months. You were all alone. Silence was the only communion. Bliss was the nourishment that you got in your association with the mother. The mother that nourished and nurtured you in every possible manner. Now when you are on the path of awakening, the same solitude, the same aloneness, the same wordless silent communion, total dependence. Not dependence is not the correct word. Whatsoever you aspire, you rely on one thing, that consciousness that nourishes and nurtures you every moment like a mother. Nothing else. You did not know anyone in mother's womb. There was no need. Now, when you have entered in the world of objects and beings, your focus is on developing relationships and forgetting that which is essential, that is capable of nourishing and nurturing you without seeking any reward. There is no ulterior motive behind the care that mother provides, the care that Mother Nature, the existence, the consciousness provides you moment to moment. It nourishes you, nurtures you, takes care of you in the moment of despair, despondency, when you are unable to understand the play of the divine, of the existence, as you interact with the objects and beings in the world of duality. Nothing happens without a reason. This is why it is said that this world is a play. Everything is interwoven into one peace, we can see, in oneness. We are not aliens, nor as strangers join. There is a power within that knows beyond our knowings. Although we meet on the stage, we have to enact a scene, and whatever we have to enact is in congruence with the script that is given to you, the dialogue that you are given to speak. The world, my friend, is fine a stage on which we come to act our parts as master, disciple, as husband, wife, as mother and son, father and daughter, employee, employer, friends, neighbors. These are all roles that we are supposed to perform on the stage of life. A stage of life has given. Then do the most of what ye may, cause frigid claws of death may soon descend and seal your humble fate. Then you shan't have time, my friend. You shan't have time to mend. Aloneness is the foundation on which the entire edifice of awakening, enlightenment, and freedom from the bondage of birth and death stands firm, unshaken. Shiva tells Devi in response to when she inquires how one can attain to this state of loneliness or aloneness, while it has been part of our subconscious. Because in the mother's womb you were nourished, you had spent 9 months in that solitude, in that aloneness. And as you grow, as you move into the world of objects and beings, you forget your connection with the subconscious is lost. Many things starts coming from all around. Shiva tells Devi, abide in some place endlessly, endlessly spacious. Abide in some place endlessly spacious, clear of trees, hills, and habitations, clear of trees, hills, and any kind of habitation. Then comes the end of the mind pressures. When you reach or create a space around you which is clear of trees, hills, and any kind of habitation, including both human beings and plants. Then comes the mind, end of the mind's pressure. There alone you find that solitude that has been the part of your deep subconscious. Before we enter more into it, it is important to explain, to understand certain points. There are three more other points that need to be understood before you can understand the message that Shiva gives to Devi. Shiva is the ultimate in consciousness, and Devi is the one who had flowed and dissolved into him. It's not that Devi needs this. Shiva is using Devi as a medium through which he shares his wordless silence message to those who have forgotten to decipher silence as a potent medium of communion, and how to understand and decipher this. Language. Just as computer uses the language with two numbers, 0 and 1 in different combinations, a gap between two breaths, there is a gap. How to understand this one breath and one gap? Computer uses two numbers, 0 and 1. Life uses two moments, breath and no breath. With the combination of all these two, breath and no breath, the entire scriptures, the script of your transformation, the script for your awakening is hidden, is written in the combination of gap and breath. A gap and a breath, that's all and nothing else. And when this gap and breath becomes rhythmic, something happens. What is that happens? Bliss. What happens is bliss, and it is beyond duality. You must understand, to be alone is basic, fundamental, foundational stone. But how? But that is how your being is. Your being is a balance, is being. Your being is bliss, an interplay between one breath and one gap. This comprises your being. The first point that you need to understand, Shiva addressing Devi, and through Devi he shares his insights for those who are ready. One can be on the path but not ready. I have heard P.D. Ouspensky came to Gurdjieff. Ouspensky was well known and more recognized than Gurdjieff. It was a winter night As Ouspensky came and told that she has come to learn, Gurdjieff gave Ouspensky a piece of paper and a pen and directed him to a room next door and asked him to write on this piece of paper all that he knows, because he does not want to waste time in talking about those things that Ouspensky also already knows. It is said, Ouspensky in the cold winter night was perspiring. All night he remained sitting with a pen and a piece of paper, and with the dawn he returned to Gurdjieff. On the paper it was written, I know nothing. What is needed for inner transformation? I know nothing. Unless an individual reaches to this point, the journey does not begin really. So the first point that you have to understand is to be alone. This is basic, foundational, and essential. How to be your being. This foundation means how to be your being. Your being flows between two, gap and a breath. That is what life is. In mother's womb, you are alone, totally alone, and psychologists say that the hankering for liberation, for nirvana, for enlightenment, for salvation, for paradise is really a deep imprinted memory of the experience that each one of us had in mother's womb. Psychologists say you have known it, the total aloneness and the bliss of it. You were alone, you were God. No one else was there. No communion, no way to communicate, no language was needed. No one disturbed you, no one interfered with you, and you did not need anyone. There was no one to interfere. And also you did not need any company. Now, for happiness, we need the company of this and that. The company of the social media, the company of the television, so many companies. Alone you were the master. With no conflict, the peace was intrinsic. With no conflict, the peace was intrinsic. Silence was there without any language. And remember, love speaks through silent gestures. It speaks through silent gestures to pronounce aesthetic beauties. It speaks through the eyes when they are not moving, the eyeballs not moving. There is a complete disconnection with the thought process. The energy has descended to the heart center. Only then a communion begins without the words. You were deep in yourself, in mother's womb. You were not consciously aware of the fact, but it is deeply imprinted on your consciousness. It is there hidden in the unconscious because of the psychology. Because of this, psychologists say that everyone thinks that life in childhood was beautiful. And every country, every race thinks that somewhere in the past was the golden age. Somewhere in the past, life was blissful. Hindus call it as Satyug, or the age of truth. Life's journey is a continuous process. At times, temporary moments of cessation comes, but it continues ere long. Sometimes known to you, other times you remain unaware of it in different forms of manifestation, as physical manifestation or at the energy level, but it continues, never ceases until the drop merges with the ocean. Enough for now, for this moment. And thanks for being a part of this moment, a part of this sharing. Blessings to you.